All right. Says we're live. You guys can hear me. Please let me know and we will get this started. Daytona 500. Cannot wait. Super fun slate for this one. We have lots of chalk in the back, lots of great pieces we can pivot off of. I think this makes for an excellent DFS slate. Obviously, a ton of randomness, a ton of variance in this, but we can embrace the variance in this one. We know that things aren't going to go according to plan. So what we can do is we can try to figure out what the field's going to do. We can try to figure out how many times things should happen, and we can leverage that to our advantage. So I know this is a very unprojectable race, but you can use this to your advantage for sure. And I'm definitely looking forward to this. Let me get my hellos in. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. So I got a couple of donos here. Appreciate that, Dan. I'll get to your question in a second. Appreciate the dono, Chris. As always, CGen. I know you have a ton of entries in the half milli today. Hopefully they all go very well. Appreciate the dono, Sean. What's up? Been a minute. Hopefully you did well in NFL. Yes. Very hot start in NFL. We end the season and basically try to water the entire time, but as long as you end up positive, that's all I care about. So I don't care if it starts hot or ends hot. Either way, was a great season. And hopefully we can push that into NASCAR as well. But yeah, let me get everything popped in here. There's about 130 of you waiting. Appreciate y'all being here. Let me pull up my stuff. I think I had the sheet behind me. It's just kind of easier to reference things. And I gotta get the plugs out of the way if you guys do want to check out all the content over behind the paywall and Patreon. But you can get a free week if you are a new user over there. You get access to all the models. A lot more than I show you on here. Floor ceiling projections, optimal rates, simulations. Also have a contest simulator now, DraftKings optimizer, all the good stuff. It can all be found there. Betting dashboard. I hate to plug too much, but you know, I gotta feed the dog. But anyway, yeah, it's in the link in the pinned chat. But look for this. It looks like, I know a lot of people are probably going to ask me about the rain situation. It looks like there's going to be a storm, probably like right around 35-45% mark of this race. I don't know when the rain's going to start. I live in Florida. There is a big front coming in, so just keep that in mind. We're going to get smacked at one point. Let me pull up my browser here, pull up the Daytona Beach weather. Last I saw, there was like a 90% chance of rain at 4, but every single site I go to is different. Like Google will say anywhere from 20 to 40%. Other sites said 90%. Like, I don't know. But just based off the radar, it looks like it's going to get smacked. Either way, if anyone says they know how to build for a rain short, like everyone asks me like, well, how do I change my lineups for a rain shortened race? If anyone tells you they know how to build for a rain shortened race, they're just lying to you. No one knows. No one knows if it's going to rain. No one knows how they're going to act when it rains. No one knows, so it doesn't change anything. Like if I sat here and told you, oh, well, you should change your lineups based off of the rain, I would just be feeding you stuff that I don't know what I'm talking about. So don't change anything. You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows. So don't change anything. Because hey, if it does get rain shortened, people will say, well, the back guys aren't going to. Well, who's to say that you're not going to wreck before that? Who's going to say the back guys aren't in the front anyway? Like you don't know. Nobody does. So I wouldn't change the way I build just based off rain. I think that would probably be looking into it too much. All right, let me, what's up, Card Collector Cody, the man, the myth, the legend? What's up, man? Nice to see you. I'll try to get to all the questions. Hopefully I can. Let's see here. I am blocking the one chat here. I can't read it. I cannot read the first question. I think it was Johnny T from earlier. He was the first one in chat. He asked me about FanDuel cash games. The cash locks, I say locks lightly at a track like this, but in cash games, whether it's DraftKings or FanDuel, there's 3 guys everybody's going to play, and that's who you should start with, no matter what site you're on. That will be Brad Keselowski in 34th, Alex Bowman in 38th, Martin Truex Jr. in 39th. These guys are going to be the highest owned drivers. They have the highest projected floors. They have the highest projected ceilings, and they have the highest optimal rates. Like, there is no reason not to play these guys in cash. Even if they wreck, who cares? Everyone will play them anyway. And if you don't play them in cash and they go off, you're dead. And if they die, it doesn't matter. So it's just a win-win-win situation there with those 3 in cash games for certain. And keep in mind, guys, this is a game of leverage today. Like I said, we don't know what's going to happen in this race. Like, absolutely no idea. But if guys are going to be over-owned, which is something I've been looking at, like my optimal projected rates compared to what the field is at, I am just basically, that's how I'm playing my game today. Like I have Brad Keselowski projected to be over-owned today. I have a couple other guys in the back. I have typically, believe the bigger names like Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, they're probably getting more ownership than they should. There's easier ways to get around that. So instead of being overweight on Keselowski, and when you, I don't mean like fade the good plays in the back. You should be playing them, but don't play them like a crazy amount. Like, for example, let's say Brad Keselowski is showing at nearly 50% ownership, but he's showing 38% optimal. Like, I'm still going to play a good chunk of Keselowski because there's a decent chance he could obviously be in the optimal lineup. But I'd be rather over leveraged on a guy like Daniel Suarez. Let's say he comes in at mid 20s. I'd rather play 35% Suarez. I'd rather play 35% Zane Smith if he comes in around 20%. Very easy ways to get different on the slate while not straying off of the path of where we typically build for these types of tracks. All right, Dan, I'll get to your question here. It says, I'm building 3 lineups for this type of race. Do you recommend completely different drivers for all 3 DraftKings lineups? In other words, 18 different names from starting positions 24 through 41. You don't necessarily have to do that, but at a track like this, I don't mind it. If I know in 3 Max last year, I did a chalky build in one of my 3 Maxes, and then I did like a half and half, and I was splitting up the drivers quite a bit. And then one lineup, I just went completely nuts and left like $20,000-$30,000 on the table, and actually ended up being my best one. So I would probably split it up as best as possible. If you are going to duplicate, make sure it's just the guys in the very, very back because their downside is very limited. What's up, G Black? We're finally back. Make it rain green today, says Hockey Freak Sean. I agree with that. That would be a great idea. What's up, Mitchell? Oh, sorry. Let me get to C-Gen's question first. Forgot about the dono. It says, what is the most number of drivers starting in the top 20 you would have? So my general rule of thumb of building today is you kind of cut this off in thirds. So it's not exactly thirds, but first through 12 starting positions, I would want 0 to 1 drivers. If they're starting 13th through 24th, I'd typically want 0 to 3 drivers. And then 25th on back, 3 to 6 drivers. That's the typical rule of thumb I would follow. See anything else here? So Mitchell says, thanks for doing these videos for DFS. No problem at all. Who are your favorite 2 DraftKings GP leverage plays today? And what do I think about McDowell? Let me pull up my, oh, I do have my sheet up. Yeah, let me pull it up here because I don't want to. Sorry, 1 second. I have everything in the cheat sheet here, like top leverage plays, whatnot. For me, my top leverage guys are currently Daniel Suarez and Alio, Zane Smith, Custer, Stenhouse, all those guys. It's basically all the guys in the 30s that are not named Keselowski, Truex, and Alex Bowman. Basically, everyone back there is going to show positive leverage because they're just eating up so much ownership. And their upside is all very similar. Any FanDuel plays, asked Stan? It's basically all the same. Whoever I like on DraftKings is going to be who I like on FanDuel. My builds on FanDuel are basically the exact same as they would be on DraftKings. I am, like, some of my current exposure here, like my highest owned driver is Keselowski, but I'm still underweight on that. And then it's Truex, Stenhouse, Suarez, Bowman, Zane, Jimmy Johnson, Alio, Justin Haley, Noah Gragson, Barry. Like, I haven't even gotten to any of the big names starting in the middle pack. Like Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. They hold nice name value. They're going to project well. They have some of the better odds to win this race, but there's just so much risk there. At their ownerships, it's tough to get to. Like, I think Kyle Busch is going to hit the 30s today, and that's too much for me personally. I'm way underweight on that, especially on FanDuel. I think FanDuel is way more wide open than DraftKings. Like, optimal rates on DraftKings, we're showing the top around low to mid 40s for like the top guys, but on FanDuel we're talking like upper 20s, lower 30 range as far as optimal is. So FanDuel is like wide open today, and just because their scoring is a bit tighter, you don't get the full point for the place differential, you get half the point, so the scoring is always extremely tight over there for these types of tracks. What's up, spread? Can't wait. Should be a fun race today. Anthony says Suarez or Truex on DraftKings. If it's cash games, Truex. If it's a tournament, go Suarez. The ownership will be lower on him. What's up, Sean says, you don't see this race cut short due to rain to you? I guess as far as getting the full race in, I think we do get that. I mean, we have lights and it doesn't look like it's going to rain tonight. I think we should get hit by that cold front coming in. Then other than that, we should be all right. But we got lights. It's Daytona 500. I don't really think they want to cut this short. Obviously, you can't postpone it going tomorrow if we get over halfway, but I don't really see that being the case. What's up, Dwayne? Says for DraftKings GPP, he's going Bowman, Busch, Gregson, Hocevar, Keselowski, and Truex. I mean, it's fine. As long as you have guys starting in the back, I really can't nitpick it too much. I do think Kyle Busch will be a bit chalky in that regard. Like if I'm playing a single entry, I'm probably getting away from Busch. I fully understand he can win this race. He is I believe my highest projected finisher, 15.44. And I do have a bet on him to win. Just to disclose this out of the way, I have 3 bets. They're all sprinkles, nothing more than I believe 0.4 units. But I have Kyle Busch to win at plus 1,400, Todd Gillen to win at plus 4,000, and then Austin Cindric to win at plus 2,100. And it's nice because I am not really playing these guys in DFS much. Busch I do have a little bit, but no Cindric, no Todd Gillen really. So if they win, it kind of hedges me out in that regard. And even then, they're not going to score insanely well. But Cindric, I mean, Cindric has an excellent car. We saw that in the duels, and he was already locked in his position. He was just going racing. Penske boys looked fantastic. Would not surprise me if we see Cindric get a second 500 today. See, go down a little bit. Sorry, I got lost in the chat a little bit. What's up, Rick? Good morning, CP. NASCAR is back. Happy race day, folks. Watch out for the Ford train today. Yeah, Fords. When the Fords are hooked up, they are very strong. We did see the Toyotas work together pretty well in the. Is that the second duel? Kind of unfortunate. Eric Jones did not get that W. They had a little bit of a quick trigger finger for that caution. And then the Xfinity race, and NASCAR officiating hasn't had the best run lately. I wish we could have got another overtime for the Xfinity race yesterday, and then the Duel 2 wasn't, I think, properly handled. Jake says, top 5 finishers today, Chris. Let's have another great season. Thanks for all the tips last year. No problem at all, Jake. I mean, top 5 finishers, I want you to know that this is a very, good luck projecting this. But projection-wise, I have Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin as my top 5. And as far as terms and projections, it's at 15.44 for the top guy. Usually we see that probably around the 3 to 6 range for projected finish. We're at 15.4. So lots and lots of variance today. I think the 7-minute prop was pretty good. I think I hit the over though. I had to hit the over for the first time this year. Yeah, definitely going with the stack the back approach, Mindo. All my exposure is guys in the back. I don't really have anything in the top 10. Just look, I don't plan on really editing this, but I think my highest guy in the top 10 would be, is Logano starting 10th or 12th? Can't remember off the top of my head. He is starting, yeah, Logano starting 10th. I have about 10% on FanDuel. I would have less on DraftKings because he's a potential race winner. But other than that, I don't really have any interest at all in the top 10. There's just no need for it. What's up, Ewok? Says, my boy Josh Bilicki was real fast last night. Or he didn't have an engine in the car. Just got on the floor. Gotta appreciate I gotta respect the sticking with the bit still. It's been a long time, but still going. I'll be playing Alio for sure. I mean, if you're in the back, I'll play you. If he just survives one wreck, we'll get 15 spots. It's all that matters. And even if he's the first one that wrecks out, he can easily outscore a lot of these guys in the front that are going to end up wrecking. So it's totally fine. I remember a long time ago, probably several years, I think it was Casey Mears. That's what I'm thinking of. He started 40th. I played 90% Casey Mears. He was the first guy that wrecked out, and I still cashed 16 or 20 of my 20 max lineups. As long as you stack the guys in the back, your floor is extremely great. Appreciate the dono, Jorge. Says, suggestions of playing 50 lineups in the 500 DraftKings contest. Cap exposures to less than 50%. Maybe remove from pool some racers. Thanks in advance and for your content. Appreciate that, Jorge. Yeah, if I am playing in the large field tournament, especially if I'm not full maxing it at 50, you really need to take an approach of probably getting away from some of this chalk. So like I said, Keselowski, Bowman, Truex, amazing plays on paper. They project great. But guys like Zane Smith, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse, Jimmy Johnson, all these guys, they have very similar upside. Cole Custer, literally everybody back there. Carson Hocevar. They're not going to be owned as much as they should. They'll be lesser owned than them. And who's to say they can't finish 14th and Truex finishes 23rd? That's possible. So I would move my exposure to those guys more, especially in these large field tournaments. In cash games, you don't need to do that. In single entries, you could do like a pivot or two. But in large field, if you're trying to take something down, you got to get away from some of this chalk, because we've seen it many times where these guys in the very back, they can get caught up in the first wreck at high ownership. And while they're not the worst plays on the slate by any means, you can get a ton of leverage by playing Cody Ware. Like Cody Ware starts 28th. If he finishes 12th at 5% ownership, I mean, you got a leg up on the field if anything happens to the chalk in the back. So you're just trying to figure out what the field's going to do, and you're trying to figure out a way to play optimally, but not, in the same way. What's up, Matt? What's up, Aaron? Yes, sir. We're back, Will. Can't wait. RB says, please build a single lineup, Chris. I mean, honestly, guys, you just play the guys in the back. I can't tell you there's just a single lineup to play. If, like, for example, I think you could just play, just click Hocevar, Zane Smith, Truex, Haley, Hocevar, add another guy in the 30s. That's a great lineup. Josh Perry. I mean, that's really the simpleness of this. Obviously, I'm not saying like you're going to guarantee 100% cash as long as you just mix the guys in the back. Some of these guys are going to get killed. But if you're just playing 20 lineups, have a good feeling as long as we get some wrecks, which we should. You'll have at least a few get through, at the very least. I'm building for a wreck fest. I mean, if it stays green, it just doesn't happen at Daytona, but we'll probably get half the field killed by the end of it. That's just what happens in this style of racing. Kelsey says, Hendrick Motorsports, baby. Well, all about just surviving wrecks here. Hello, how to use well. CJ, nice to see you, as always. 12:14 start time. That's way too low. Or high, I guess I should say. Yeah, I do have it's almost full, but I do have the Daytona glass today, as you're mentioning, so. Always have to bust it out for Daytona. What's up, Ross? You left church early just to see this story? Appreciate it. All right, let's see. All right, Robert has a question. Who would you go with, Truex or Bowman? I mean, it's honestly like an impossible question, but I mean, if projection-wise, it would be Alex Bowman. It's very tight, but slightly into Bowman there. Green Mateo says, NASCAR DFS is pure luck. What is the purpose of strategy? Congrats on the most ignorant statement of the entire stream so far. It's just not true. Plenty of data to back up decisions that you can make. I mean, if it was all luck, this is not the case. I wouldn't be a profitable player year in, year out. See, Dallas says, what time does this usually start? Well, it was supposed to be starting at, if you mean the stream, probably like 10 minutes late as always, if you come back. PJ says, well, some things never change. Chris is late. I like to stay consistent. All right, let's see. Says, I'm stacking 10 to 30 and sprinkling 31 to 41. Thinking outside the box this year. I know. Good luck with that. Yeah, it's pretty much all you got to do. And you just got to hope you hit the right combination. Basically all it is. I did I maxed the $3 on FanDuel, 150, and I feel pretty good about my exposure. It's basically all the guys in the back. I'm underweight on all the big names, not really playing anybody up front. I do have a little bit of Logano because on FanDuel you get like a slight lean towards finishing position, but it's still basically PD that wins out. Let's see. I'm going to pull up Bob's Twitter really quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything weather-wise. Just saw that Stenhouse will drop to the rear for multiple inspection failures. I want to point out that anybody that goes to the rear, it does not matter at a track like this. Like, I've had people ask me, the guy that's starting dead last, he ends up going to the rear. Like, it does not matter. Nothing matters here at Daytona. Just, You got to survive the wrecks, and that's basically as simple as that. All right, we did get a radar tweet from Bob 22 minutes ago. Lots of rain, although Daytona is kind of on the tail end of this. It doesn't look like it's as bad as it is up in Jacksonville. So hopefully not too bad. I do think we'll get some rain at some point, but like I said, I'm not a weatherman. I can't project the weather. Got it done for man spread. Always appreciate that. Says go Blaney, glad to be back. Me too, spread. Looking forward to a great season. I mean, obviously, if Blaney doesn't wreck, he'll be in the mix to potentially win this one. I mean, how good he is at the super speedways. But appreciate it as always. What's the max exposure I would have someone in a 150 set, says Caleb. Personally, for me, I don't really want to go above like 40, 50%. My highest optimal guy is Keselowski at 43.5%. So I really don't want to go above that too much, because that's accounting for all the variance. And I mean, sure, we can love a guy. We can love Truex today, but if he finishes 32nd, you don't want 100% of them. So I'd probably try to stay in that range and over leverage yourself on the guys that aren't as owned as they should be. What's up, Zan? Says Bowman, Haley, Jimmy, Zane, Suarez, Truex for GBP thoughts. I think that's great. I like the, you have a little bit of chalk there with Bowman and then Truex, but Zane will be a nice pivot. Not saying Zane's going to be unknown, but he's a pivot off of like a Keselowski. I like that you don't have Keselowski in that. You have Haley, you have Jimmy. I think it's a really solid GBP build. I think that's a perfect example of like, you can play some chalk and then you can take a couple of pivots without getting off like the main strategy in the back. What's up, the bull? Good morning, Cameron. Who were the highest owned drivers not named Keselowski and Bowman starting 30th or worse? Also, who's the lowest owned driver in that same range? All right, so the highest owned starting 30th or worse not named Keselowski and Bowman, that'll be Truex. And then the lowest owned in the 30s range, let's see. It'll probably be Cole Custer starting 30s, right? Yeah, I think it'll probably be Custer. Him or Hocevar, most likely, starting in the upper range of that 30. Tyler says, hope you guys have Monday off. I think we'll get the race in. I don't think we're gonna get rained out today. Might be a late one though. Coach says, I think Jimmy is in play. What engines he's running? He's in a Toyota, so they're all running the same stuff. I mean, you don't have to worry about anyone really losing the draft in this one. They'll be fine. Got done from Heater. Appreciate that. Says, I need a win today. What is Oakley's core? Locked where already? Oakley told me his core was Hocevar, Zane Smith, and Josh Berry. Straight from the dog. Jorge says, given how risky this race is. I already answered that one. Avery says, yesterday, I saw a guy post a DraftKings DFS video and say that Bubba Wallace was the best play on the slate. I'm done wasting my time with these other guys. Good to have you back. Appreciate you, Avery. Yeah, Bubba Wallace is not the best play on the slate. I don't even know what else to say besides that's just not, it's not how it works. Now, Bubba was the best play in the dual race, but not this one. Sean says, explain contest sim. Like, I don't think I can probably do that on here, but I posted a video that hopefully does that, but I can probably help you in chat, Discord when I get back. But we do have the contest sims on my, on the stuff now. Try not to miss messages, but what's up, Jay Swift? What's up, Andre? I'm alive, PJ. Sorry, I'm just tripping around a little bit. Comment guy says Chris should grow a mullet or locks. I don't know about locks. Heck yeah, we're rocking with Noah today. Starting in the 30s, I think he's what, 32nd? Yeah, no, Gregson's in 32nd. I don't think I've said him in all my examples, but Gregson falls right in that same category. What's up, Paper? Where's the Ryan Blaney shirt reward on the regular video? I don't want to double up on that. Yeah, the front row cars, I mean, we've seen them run very well at super speedways in the past for sure. Who is my favorite below 6,200? I mean, my favorite is probably Zane at 30 and starting in 37th. I think he's my highest owned of that bunch. All right. Do you have to play number one? Says Aaron. What do you mean by number one? Like the driver number one, the starting position number one? Either way, it would be a no for me. Briscoe is the worst play in the slate. He's got a floor projection of like minus 33, ceilings in the mid 50s. That it just sucks. No reason to ever play the pole sitter at Daytona no matter what. As far as Ross Chastain is concerned, if that's what you're asking about. I forget what his price tag. He's $8,100 starting at 9th. Like, if Ross wins the race, could he be in the optimal? Yes, of course. But him winning the race, it's a very low probability. Hello, Miss Jules. That's like my haircut. Appreciate that as always, Miss. Happy race day and enjoy the pool. I know we're out there. We got some sun before the clouds come in, but as always, appreciate you being here. And he says getting to a lot of Castro Neves. I think I'm saying that name right. Yeah, you should. I mean, he's starting dead last. There is not really any downside there, and there's all the upside in the world. Kind of reminds me of Travis Pastrana starting in 40th at one Daytona a couple years ago, I think. He finished, well, I started 40th, finished top 10. Like, that's exactly what can happen here. Chris Davis says, Bush, Custer, Keselowski, Priest, Smith, Suarez for $4,000 players single. 4,000, sorry, person player single entry. Says Chris. Custer, I like that in tournaments. Priest in tournaments. Yeah, I think that's fine. Obviously, you know the risk. You guys need to know the risks. Like if you have Bush, if you have Elliott, if you have Blaney, these guys, they can win the race. If they wreck out though, I mean, there's a lot of downside, but as long as you understand the risks, I mean, that's perfectly fine. Kelsey says all cars are in play just for the simple fact I expect the big one. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not in the top 10, you're basically in play. I'd almost stretch that to even as long as you're not in the top 15, you're in play. Ethan says any love for Bell and DraftKings GPP? I have roughly like 15-ish% Bell, 15-20% Bell. I think he comes in around 20-ish% owned. I don't mind being to the field a little bit underweight on that. I mean, Bell is right in that same category as all the other, like Bush, Elliott, Blaney, Larson types. Is leaving $2,000 salary on DraftKings too much now? No, I mean, I have some lineups that leave like $20,000. So leave as much money on the table as you want. That salary is not real for this one. Like, just completely remove salary and look at where these guys start. Salary should be no concern. And what's crazy is this year we get to do it again. Like next week is Atlanta. We get to do the super speedway thing again. Now, Atlanta is not Daytona, but I mean, back-to-back super speedways. So it's going to be very, very similar. Blaney Byron to win, let's go. It's possible. I mean, if those guys don't wreck, they're going to be up front, but you'll never know. Dan says, are you crossing anyone off in 27 through 41? I am not. I don't really see anybody to do that with. I guess we could probably just do this by the starting grid. Might be easier. Yeah, there is nobody here that I wouldn't play. Like I have everybody in my player pool. And I'm playing Cody Ware. I know he's starting up top, but if he finishes 12th, who's to say he can't finish 12th? Obviously, he could finish 34th, but whatever. So could Denny Hamlin. Gil says, how much Cody Ware are you playing today? Right now, I have about 10%. I'm projecting him to not be 10%, so it's pretty easy. If you want to be double the field on Cody Ware today, it's not that hard to do at all, because there's so much talk back here, and it's not like salary is an issue where you're like, well, I got to put Cody Ware in if I want to fit this guy. People aren't going to play Cody Ware today, so if you want to go double the field, it's not costing you much. McDowell thoughts on DraftKings. McDowell is in the player pool. I wish he was a little bit further back, starting in 25th, but I'm close to 15% on McDowell because he has that race winning upside. We've seen it at Daytona before. Obviously, he's changed teams. He's no longer at a Ford, which I think maybe hurts a little bit, but I think he'll still be fine. Look like Gilly from Street Fighter. I don't know who that is. Good luck to you as well, Josh. We got 450 in here. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We got, what locks it? I forget when lock is. 151, 159, something around there. Anyway. Apologize if I missed your question. I'm trying to jump around a little bit, so I'm about like an hour behind chat, just kind of going back and forth. Hockey Freak Sean says, is 26% custom not enough? No, it's fine. I'm in that range, 20, 30%. Let's see. Alex Duckwall says, FYI to all race fans who bet on the books, I don't know what I'm missing. I bet Rivers, but they have the entire field to top 10 at plus money. Bunny's minus 250 to top 10. Everywhere else, you want to bet Rivers, he's plus 100. You know, some books are just tend to be a little bit more softer than others sometimes. Like I've noticed at the end of last year, FanDuel was just way off from the other books. I mean, you definitely need to shop around, of course. But I mean, I think all the odds at this point of the week, all the odds are terrible. I'm just looking at DraftKings odds, and top 10 is just an absolute disaster. The best leverage I have at top 10 is Cody Ware. I have him finishing top 10 9.9% of the time. Fair odds at plus 909, but he's at plus 500. That's minus 6.8% leverage. It's just a lot of trash there. Cole Custer isn't too bad, but it's still negative. Same with Corey LaJoie. Like last year, for the last Daytona race, it wasn't the 500, but it was the for the playoffs or whatever it was. We could get guys like Parker Retzlaff. We hit Parker Retzlaff at plus 2,200 for a top 10, but now the worst odds you can get are like 500, or best odds I should say, or 500. Like they just completely killed the odds. So basically unbettable. I don't really see anything on the board at this point that's worth betting. I mentioned the ones I have earlier, just sprinkles, but I got that earlier in the week. They've been cut down now. I wouldn't force anything. I don't see anything. I'm pretty much break even on McDowell plus 5,000 if that number is still out there. I'm break even on Justin Haley and Daniel Suarez at 5,500. But it's not like there's positive leverage really. It's just like basically you're even with the books. So not much to like. All right. What's up, Mom? Scrolling, I saw you in there. Says go Logano. Logano could win this, of course, but he does tend to be a little bit wreckers or checkers, that's for sure. What's up, Chris? Says, been a while, 34 through 39 for cash games. I think that can work. Yeah, Keselowski's probably I would say Keselowski is the highest up on the grid I would go for cash. I mean, you could easily play, like for cash games, you have Keselowski here. You could play Haley, Suarez, Bowman, Truex, play Zane, play Haley, play Jimmy. I don't care. Either one's fine. That's basically how you play cash today. You should not touch anybody above. There's just no reason to for cash games. All of these guys have top 10 potential, and they start in the back. Okay, Sean says, Keselowski, Bowman, Gregson, Truex, Hocevar, Haley. Or Haley Ware. Large GPP, would you change anything? No. All guys in the back, you had a couple pivots there, like Gregson. Won't be extreme chalk. Neither will Hocevar. Obviously, Cody Ware will not be. So I think that's perfectly fine. MDM says, where's Larson? Says 22, but yeah, there's going to be guys going to the rear today, but that does not change their starting position. And you should not care if guys go to the rear. I mean, you can go from back to the front whenever you please, really. So it does not matter. But for DraftKings purposes, FanDuel, he'll be starting in 22nd. Appreciate that, CJ. Appreciate that. Rose says, pretty boy Pennell. What's up, Rose? What's up, YSN? Just getting here, do we think weather will be a problem? It might be. I mean, I don't. It's going to be hit or miss. It looks like based off the radar, we should get something, but I don't want to make it sound for certain or anything. See if Bob posting any updates. Not seeing anything. He hasn't tweeted in a while. I mean, we should get the full race in, though. I don't think that'll be an issue. Cal says, "Hey, give me Travis Pastrana vibes from a few years back." Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Steve says, "Cody Ware is your hero at Daytona." It's true. Cody Ware's been very good. Obviously, this does not mean slam Cody Ware today, like all your lineups. But if you're just looking at the track history, Cody Ware, I mean, he's been the best driver in next gen as far as fantasy points is concerned. And this should just go to show you, like, yeah, these guys that suck in the back, they are typically the best plays. And Brett says, "Any opinions on Ty Gibbs today?" Thanks, Chris. Yeah, Ty Gibbs is kind of like the forgotten about guy. Ty Gibbs in the exact same category as Larson, Busch. Although I would say he's like a tick below them, but he's playable. I think I have around 15-ish%. Like if you have a bigger name and you're starting in the pack, I pretty much have 15% of you. Like enough to where like if they are optimal, I have lineups with them. But like if they wreck out, I'm probably going to be happy because I'm underweight in the field. Me too, sir. Love the live streams. Love doing them every single weekend with you guys. Timothy says, "We're back. Favorite cash outside of the big three ownerships?" I guess I probably answered that one, but I think Zane Smith, Justin Haley, Dylan Suarez. What's up, Margie? Hopefully you have a fantastic race. Hopefully. What's up, Grey Day? Says, "Best contrarian play on FanDuel." It's basically like all this. I hate to keep beating the dead horse, but there's just only so many ways I can say like I'm just playing the guys that aren't the big names in the back, like Bowman, Truex, Keselowski. As long as you're playing guys different from them, like Zane Smith. And the thing on FanDuel is though, I guess FanDuel is a little bit different in the sense where these guys are not going to be nearly as owned. Like I remember, I think it was like the last Daytona race on FanDuel. These guys that were bigger names starting mid-pack, but tons of downside. They're just mega owned and they wreck. And then all the guys in the back, I was getting John Hunter Nemechek at like 1% and a 3 max. There was no reason for that. It was crazy. So all the guys in the back that aren't like the big three, because people, you don't have to go that low on FanDuel. So if you just do that, you're different enough. No, Gregson will not be chalk on FanDuel. I don't even think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be making chalk on FanDuel. Jimmy Johnson definitely won't be. Haley won't. Zane Smith. Like, that's where you want to live in GPPs. What's up, Jeerd? What's up, Big Top? Says, "I'm new to NASCAR. I'm so lost." This is definitely a different beast compared to any other track. I mean, you're basically just throwing darts at guys in the back, and then you just need the right combination at the end of the day. Obviously, there's the strategy component of leveraging ownership, of course, in tournaments, as there is for any sport. Jake says, 10 lineups. If I go one with some guys up front, is that okay? It depends who it is. Like, how up front are you talking? Like, there is no reason to play anybody from 9th on up. There's just really no reason to. If you look at the, let me see. I mean, if you look at this heat map here, their upside is just so capped. Like, this is the best. Like, it doesn't account for dominator points, but that's just because dominator points really don't matter. There's going to be so many lead changes. Fast laps are completely random. Like, if William Byron wins the race, he gets 49 points for winning. Obviously, if he leads a couple of laps, whatever, he could get to 50-ish. But for someone to score 49 points back here, like if Carson Hocevar, they all wreck, if he finishes 13th, the path for him to get William Byron's complete ceiling is so much easier. Meanwhile, William Byron, if he finishes 37th, he's in the first wreck, minus 28. These guys can't score minus 28 in the back. It's just not possible. I know Haley's not here because I frame my stuff for 40 typically, so I didn't fix that. But like these guys, the worst they can do is just getting points, you know. They're not going to kill you. If Justin Haley gets a top 15, we're talking nearly almost 15 points. Like there's just no reason to touch these guys up top. If Chase Briscoe won the race somehow, we get 45, 46 points, whatever it is. Who cares? He's not going to be a top 6 scorer even if he does that. Kelsey says yesterday there was a lot of wrecks. Yeah, Xfinity was kind of a fun race. Does Jimmy Johnson have a chance? Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Johnson does love to wreck a lot, but I think it was a couple of years ago, him and Kyle Busch were the chalk in the back, and I believe it was near the end of the race, they were running, and then they ended up both wrecking. Conscious says maybe we're at the point in DFS where the good expensive plays actually win a tourney. Everybody stacks the back now other than casual players, which I technically am. I mean, just because something people know what to do now doesn't mean that the guys up front, the bad plays, are just going to be optimal somehow now. It doesn't change the way these guys are going to race or anything. No, we've seen before. I'm not saying that nobody in the top 15 can be optimal. Like, we've seen a couple times where it just doesn't happen on average. Like, if Logano wins the race, yeah, he's optimal. If Tyler Reddick wins the race. But the chances of these things happening are just so much lower than these other guys in the back picking up 10, 15, 20 spots. Because, I mean, you can think you're smart enough to know who's going to win, but you just don't. That's why you play the game with the guys in the back. Like, sure. Like, Austin Dillon could win the race, and you're like, well, I knew I should have played. Well, you didn't know to play exactly who to play. You don't know exactly who's going to get caught in the wreck. You have to understand that you just don't know these things, and that's why you play the game you do, or how. That's why we play the game why we do. What's up, Cobalt? Larson? I mean, Larson, like I said, he's in that same category as all these guys that are mid-pack. Potential race winners. Larson does usually run well at the super speedways, but he is just an absolute magnet for carnage for whatever reason. Like, he just has a horrible, horrible track record. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. I would take Chase Elliott there. We get the extra PD. Same exact finishing upside. I don't see a reason to really get too much Denny. John says I have $20. Who's a long shot you think could win? I mean, all the odds suck now. I strictly bet if there's value. I do not see any value. Like, there's really nothing on the board here. As you can see, I'm just comparing to DraftKings odds, but there's just nothing. Absolutely nothing I would bet. I mean, McDowell at 5,000 doesn't look horrible, but the only bets I have are Todd Gilliland, but his odds got slashed in half. I have Austin Cindric, but his odds got killed. Kyle Busch. Yeah, I am not playing Byron Impresso. If he wins, like, I don't care. I don't care if Byron wins. I'm sure other guys can outscore him. And then as far as Denny is concerned, I do have a little sprinkle of Denny in 150 max, but if I'm playing 3 lineups, even 20 lineups, I'm not getting to Denny. What's up, life? Which 2 drivers in the back think that come in top it? Whoever survives the wreck. If I told you a real answer, like, I'd be lying. I have no idea. Whichever ones survive the wreck. I mean, the most likely ones are Brad Keselowski and Alex Bowman, but it all just comes down to all these idiots wreck. Which of these guys happen to not wreck with them, and then they end up top. Now, NASCAR DFS is usually not like this, guys, so don't think every week we're just like, man, whoever survives the wreck, that's what happens. Usually we get practice and guys on raw speed, and then we get dominator points. Daytona is a different animal. It's like, it's complete carnage. Marie says, who are you most likely to fade in a single entry, Bowman, Truex, or Keselowski? For me, Keselowski. You get the extra spots in the other guys. And the thing with Kes is, I mean, he's a known terrorist. Good chance he ends up in flames at some point. We'll probably see Keselowski up front at some point. It's just a matter of, hey, does he get turned or not? Zane Smith or Suarez? I like Suarez just a little bit more. David says, someone in Stochastics Discord says, my wife asked who did Chris Pennell's eyebrows. They're better than hers. I do all my own stuff. So, I guess just me. But that's pretty funny. But cold track and Daytona, not going to be pretty. I don't want it to be pretty, so I'll take it. You know, this is top 6 finishers. I mean, like I said, good luck figuring that out. But projection-wise, Busch, Logano, Blaney, Elliott, Hamlin, Keselowski. It's not pretty, though. Appreciate you, something foo. Appreciate that, sir. I'll be in Discord after we do the live stream. But as long as you guys have questions, I'll be here answer. I already got my lineups in. Usually I have to get off early because my lineups aren't in yet, but we're good to go. What's up, Donnie? Chris, is Jimmy Johnson a bum now? Or I mean, Jimmy Johnson is a certified bum, but this is like the one place we can play him, so I would roll with it for sure. Obi says, how much are you leaving on the table today, Chris? Well, I have a range of... I have one lineup that leaves like half the salary left. So like a lot. Like I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. Now I have some that get close to that 50K cap, but this is definitely a great slate to leave a lot of money on the table. Unreleased lo-fi music says, which guy's 30th and back on FanDuel do you think will be the lowest owned? Or will they all be low owned outside of Brad and Bowman? Truex should have ownership. Other than that, I don't think it's going to be anything crazy because people are going to flock over to Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch especially, because you can afford them. And on FanDuel, that's just how people flock to in their lineups, because for whatever reason on FanDuel, these bigger names just tend to have higher ownership. I don't know why. Just in my experience playing it, like they should not be as owned as they are. Then these guys in the back are just like, hey, why aren't you guys playing these guys? So I think projection-wise, we should get, I don't think Jimmy, Stenhouse, Zane Smith, I think Barry will get some decent ownership, but Noah Gragson I don't think will. We should be able to get Cole Custer decently low. I don't think Haley is going to be that high. People probably play Jimmy, so. I mean, outside of the big 3, it's not that hard to get lower ownership. Sincere says, supposed to stop raining around 5 p.m. in Daytona and start around 2 p.m. Well, that would suck. Although, honestly, I'd rather it rain before they start and then we just do a full race uninterrupted, other than start, stop, because that just gets really annoying. Next Gen Lugnut says, I'm putting $500 in Cody Ware to win. Is it a good bet? Oh, yeah, best bet you could possibly make. It's almost guaranteed. No problem, Obi. Eric says, do you need the winner in your lineup to take down the 500K? I was curious in the last few years of results. It totally depends where it comes from. Like if the guy's on the pole wins the race, then you don't need it. I remember a race where Ricky Stenhouse started on the pole, he won the race, and I don't believe he was in the optimal. Like there's just so much would have to go right for the guy in first to win and be optimal. So, but if, like, let's say Logano wins starting from 10th, that should be enough to be optimal, of course. If Cindric wins, it'd be cutting it close. Bubba Wallace wins, it'd be cutting it close. But it just comes down to, are you going to be a top 6 scorer? And that's very hard for those guys to do up top. See, John says, hi, Chris. Glad to be back racing. Who do you have finishing better head-to-head for Logano versus Hamlin? Oh, boy, that's a lot. I mean, unless you're getting plus odds somewhere, you should not be betting head-to-heads today because it's head-to-head is pure luck today. I mean, simple as that. But I believe I have it Logano, Blaney, Busch, and then Byron. Answer your question. But I mean, betting head-to-heads today is, I would say, rather insane. Jeremy says, hey, Chris, never got my prize for nailing Joey Logano as race winner and lap sled at Phoenix. Really? I'll have to check I could have swore I got it, but if not, I'll double check because I don't want to leave you hanging. But try to remind me. But I definitely did not mean to do that, if so. If you left me a comment that had an email or something on YouTube, it just deletes it instantly. Not my rules, it's YouTube, because I think it just detects it as spam. But we'll try to figure something out. 30 minutes until lock? Is that when lock is? I see 158 on DraftKings, unless it moved. And FanDuel is at... Okay, FanDuel locks at 130. DraftKings is at 158. No, the race is not starting at 130. It'll be at 2. They start the race day stuff at 130. What's up, Mad Dog? Happy race day. Truex, Bowman, Keselowski, Zane Smith, Gregson, and Busch. It's good. I mean, it's pretty chalky, but all comes down to if Kyle Busch. I mean, if Kyle Busch doesn't wreck, he should be up front. So just know that going in. Recchi might survive. He might. I mean, Recchi is a good plate racer, but I mean, he is the true definition of wreckers or checkers. Says Haley could be okay. He's been wrecked 5 times this week. Yeah, it seems like he just keeps wrecking. Good chance he just rides till after stage 2. I hope so. I mean, if you've never played Daytona DFS before, you do not want to be winning money until the very end. If you were winning money early on, in the middle, or even close to the end, that's probably not a good sign because it's going to change. So do not get discouraged. Do not get too happy. Don't even look. You shouldn't look until the end. Because it means nothing. Oh, I knew I should have played this guy. No, he might wreck. So don't worry about that kind of stuff. Keith says, no idea what I'm doing. Is Johnson a better play than Ware since he starts wearing the back? Yeah, I would say Jimmy Johnson's a safer play for sure. More upside too. Next Gen Lugnut says, wish we could bet on the race ending on a green or yellow. Easy money right there. So I don't know if they still have it up, but early in the week, Caesar had some insane odds. Insane stuff you could bet on. They had average race speed, average margin of win, how many different lap leaders. They had a bunch of crazy stuff. So they might even have that. Yeah, coach says, don't even look at DK until the race is over unless you look. Because even after the race, I'll tell you right now, if this race ends in a fury of wrecks, DraftKings will be updating stuff well after the race ends. So, like I said, don't get too high, don't get too low. Things are going to change. Sean says, did like your rundown on Hocevar there, Chris? He likes hanging around the back until, yeah. If you look at Hocevar's numbers at super speedways, he literally just sits in the back. That's all he does. He doesn't care. Average running position of 34.9 for Hocevar at Daytona. Now, it's a 2-race sample size, but if we expand this to a 7-race sample size, super speedway is 29.7. And nobody's worse, I believe, besides Allgaier, but that's only a 1-race sample size. So what Hocevar does is he rides around in the back. He even posted a meme last year. Super Speedway, he said, hey, I just ride in the back and I take my finish at the end. And that is what you want. And it's exactly what you want. I don't want my guys up front. Everybody rack. Hocevar finishes 14th today. You would be extremely happy. TD says, why is Kyle Busch Vegas odds favored so much? So I know he hasn't won, but he has been absolutely incredible in next gen, in the 8 car at super speedways. Pull his numbers up really quick. Sorry. So right here, row 23, we're looking at Daytona. He's got the best average finish. He's got one of the best average running positions. He's finished in the top 10 4 out of 6 races, in the top 20 every single time, in the top 15 5 out of 6 races. If we expand this to an 18 race sample size, he once again has the best average finish, one of the best running positions. He's been in the top 10 out of 18 times, in the top 20 15 out of 18 times. Like, he has been really, really good at super speedways. So that's why the ownership's going to be behind him today. That's why Vegas loves him. I have bet on him to win at plus 1,400. I wouldn't bet him currently at plus 1,100 or whatever it is now, plus 1,000. Probably wouldn't be surprised if someone put him at 900. But he's been really good. And he should have had a couple of wins, and they just haven't gone his way. Lips Blast says, I think it's a fun way for Game 3 minded people like DFS junkies to get into NASCAR. I'll tune it near the end to see how the lineups are doing. And honestly, never really watched before. Yeah, it should be fun. Like, that's NASCAR DFS. Like, you don't have to like race cars going left. You don't have to be a hillbilly, redneck. You don't have to be anything like that. If you like data and you like game theory and how people are playing and trying to get different off of that, I mean, NASCAR is super fun for it. Super fun. No, leaving $2,000 on the table is perfectly fine. Like, I have some lineups that have almost $30,000 on the table. Perfectly fine to leave a lot of money. I mean, my projected winner today, John, is Kyle Busch, but I want you to know I have that happening only 6.6% of the time. So, not like it's a lot. Is Allgaier a decent play? I have a little bit of Allgaier. I know we haven't talked about him, but he's like in a dead spot. But I do have a little bit of him, and he's obviously in a good car. Hopefully he can make Dale Jr. proud. That's a pretty good cash lineup, K. You have Keselowski. Although I would not play Kyle Busch in cash. I know he's gonna be chalky. I don't care. There's too much risk. If he wrecks out, you don't want him in your lineup. Even if he wins, I still think there's ways you can get there. I would not personally play Kyle Busch ranking 21st. From 34th, I thought I was looking at the DFS page. Let's see. Yeah, I don't, like, this is your cash pool right here. Just get 6 of these guys. I don't care who it is. Just pick 6 of them as long as you have Keselowski, Bowman, and Truex. Then after that, just fill it out with 3 more. If you want to play Hocevar, you can. If you want to play Gregson or Stenhouse, you could push yourself up there, but I don't think there's any reason. There's definitely no reason to go like above this range for cash. Just know that, yes, Truex did have a lot of issues last year, but this is a different car for him. He's actually retired. This is the only race he's going to be doing this season. It's a different car. He's in the 56 and super speedway, so you don't have to worry about that. McDowell's fine for tournaments. I think he is one of the better positive leverage drivers. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no problem, John. No problem. I mean, I'm underweight on Kyle Busch and DFS today, but if he wins, I would get a nice payout for bet to win. So it's kind of nice. Like, the guys, like, I'm not playing Gilliland really in DFS. I'm not playing Cindric. I'm underweight on Kyle Busch. Those are my 3 bets to win. Not at current odds, but early in the week. So if they win, it's a nice hedge, at least. He's got the old one. Oops. Just absolutely mashed my table. Yeah, you should definitely leave money on the table for sure. Any Seabell love? I've gotten a ton of questions about Seabell today for some reason. I mean, Seabell's like the exact same play as like Busch, Larson, Ty Gibbs, Elliott. Like, he's right in that same range. 15-20% ownership. I think that's roughly where he's going to fall. 47 will crash the race today. I mean, he would be one of the likely contenders to do that. Yes, that's fine. Dentito, I think that's how you say his name. If you want to leave money on the table in single entry, everything applies. For sure. Mrs. McBrowney says, welcome back. Hello. Myles Garrett to leave Cleveland and be the Jackman for number 12. That would actually be awesome. Unfortunately, yeah, the Browns, it's not fun being a Browns fan. It's really not. I'm giving up on them for the next decade. Hopefully we can rebuild by then. Deshaun Watson unfortunately just ruined the franchise. Jody says, how's the passing on this track? Unlimited. What's up, Raider Jeff? Says, glad for another year of NASCAR and Chris's DFS content. Also, hoping for a Truex win. Good luck, all. Appreciate that, Raider. Appreciate that. I would go with Keselowski there, personally, Yancey. I do like Josh. I don't think I've gotten any Josh Berry questions today, but I do like him. He's in the 21 car. This car obviously won the last Daytona race. And yeah, starting 29th, I think he's a great play. I have quite a bit of him. I think around 30%. The St. Indy. No, Halio's definitely in play. I have a good amount of Halio. LaJoy starting too high up for me. I usually always play him at super speedways, but he's starting 12th. I can't do Corey LaJoy in 12th today. Yeah, she's always right. For sure. I definitely feel like I've skipped some questions, but I'm doing my best here. When's the wedding? Coming to Hawaii for the honeymoon? I don't know about that yet. Wedding will be in December, though. Nice little Christmas wedding. All right, let me check the Bob feed here, make sure. Okay, so 51 seconds ago, we got an update from one of the NASCAR weathermen I follow, NASCAR_WXMan on Twitter. Says, radar update. We're about 90 minutes out from Daytona. Main concern with this line is the wind gust of 40 to 45 miles per hour. Not a lot of lightning with this, but there could be some. Yeah, it looks like the rain's pretty close, about 60 miles off west right now. So I guess we'll probably, we're going to start, I guess, but definitely looks like we're going to get a rain delay at some point. But shouldn't be a day under. We should be able to get a night race in at least. And that's all we can ask for. What is the ownership on Brad? I think Brad gets around 50% today. Roughly around there. Could be upper 40s or low 50s is where I think he falls into that range. I think on FanDuel, he'll probably be right around 40 to mid 40s in that range. And that's, for me, that's too high. Like, I think he's a great play, but at that ownership, I can't get to the field on that. I'd rather go with Zane Smith for sure. He's my favorite play today. I think our most over leveraged play is probably either Suarez or Zane. Brian says, so playing Daytona is like playing Markieff Morris and Cody Swan in the NBA. I'm not going to exactly say what the comparison is on that, but if that's what makes sense to you, then yes. Barriers than us on DraftKings. I'd rather go with the rookie. Don't know if you mentioned this or not, but one lineup on the 500K tourney, who is the must-have? It's hard to say there is a must-have. If you're only doing one lineup in the 500K, I would probably just avoid the chalk. I'd probably get to, if I'm playing one lineup, I'm probably getting to like Cole Custer, Zane Smith, Justin Haley, Stenhouse, like just playing the guys in the back, but trying to get away from the chalk bombs. Hocevar or Ware for last driver? I'll go with Hocevar. The highest owned drivers are most likely going to be Keselowski, Bowman, Truex, Kyle Busch. After that, it's a bit of a guessing game. I think I currently have that as, I think it's either Suarez or Barry. It's one of those two. I think Cole Custer is a great tournament play. I don't think a lot of people are going to play him starting in 30th. I like it a lot. Hocevar, Barry, or Suarez? I'll go with Suarez there. Yeah, you should still play Keselowski, but being underweight to that's definitely great. If this is the storm they're talking about, yeah, it looks like there's a lot of wind. Outside, I know I'm way down south from the storm, but it's even windy here. Yeah, fire away. Blaney is in play a little bit, but I'm underweight on Blaney. Like, in a vacuum, if there was no wrecks, Blaney should be up front, but as great as Blaney is, he gets caught up in wrecks. Good to see you as well, Pete. But yeah, I don't know. Have to ask Algeier that question for sure. But yeah, if you're referencing yesterday, it got kind of ugly at the end. Yeah, if you're in cash, play all the chalk in the back. Like, probably just got in, but like if you were playing cash, this is your cash pool right here, pretty much. They just play these guys. Johnson or Custer in tournaments. Let me see which one I'm showing more leverage on currently. It's pretty close. I have Custer slightly more than Jimmy as far as leverage. Custer or Barry? That will be Custer still for me. It's not something I can really factor in, Sean. All right. Logano and Hamlin. Definitely not in the same lineup. Very sparingly would I play one of them. You have to be very careful with that. Best 9K driver not named Brad. For me, that'd be Kyle Busch, ownership aside and anything. Bell, Bowman, Larson, Elliott, Keselowski. So for me, I think, so having Bell and Larson and Elliott, I think that's a little bit too top heavy. As far as starting position, I'd try to stray a little bit further back. Maybe you just get like one of those guys in your lineup. Because like one of those guys hitting, yes. All three of them hitting, I would say the chances are getting a little bit lower. Especially in a single entry. You're kind of putting yourself in a really tough spot. Pete says, if Brad stays clean, don't say how he's not optimal. Yeah, if he stays clean, but it's anyone's best guess. Like as great as Brad is at super speedways and Daytona, he has an average finish of 18th, average rank just of 14th. Like that's great, but 3 out of the 6 races he's finished in the top 20, which I mean basically means at the time he's wrecked, at least in next gen. He's very good here though. Like if Brad does not wreck, he is most likely in the optimal, but he's gonna be in the danger zone at some point. Like he is a terrorist. He will kill or get killed. Yes, I think those are excellent pivots, Jason. Excellent pivots. Yeah, no problem, Big. Just know this kind of track, this does not represent what usual NASCAR is. It's way different. Daytona is just like a big outlier. Like you got to get crazy here. For a normal track like Darlington, you know, we're playing those good drivers. We're not leaving that much money on the table. We're playing dominators. It's just weird for this one. What's up, Dripsy? Brad's not lifting? No, Brad ain't lifting. You don't care if it's a teammate or, well, back in Penske, he didn't care. Nowadays, you know, if Buescher gets in front of him, he tends to push him and not try to kill him because he's in that owner role now. But back in the day, if it was the Penske boys, if Joey's in front of him, we can guarantee one of them is dying, if not both. Priest or Barry? I'll go Barry, personally. Blaney Suarez or Elliott and Barry? I'd go with Blaney and Suarez. It's like an all-star game for other sports for DFS thinking. In a way. Although all-star game sounds kind of crazy. I've never played an NBA all-star DFS though, so I guess I can't speak on it. I think that's better, Big Bino. It's getting better. I think that makes more sense. Yeah, I mean, roster the most bananas lineup you can think of. It's the best advice I can get. Mad Dog says I got Bowman and Gregson on one lineup. How you feel about them today? Yeah, I mean, if you're in the 30s, I like you. I don't care who it is. All right, second, just pulling up. Sorry, just pulling up Twitter here. Making sure I'm not missing anything weather-wise. Not seeing much. I see Air Force One just touched down Daytona. But yeah, it looks good. I mean, it looks like the rain's going to be there very shortly, like after first stage or whatever. So we'll see how much we get in before we get rain. But the rain, it's coming. No problem at all. Ask as many questions as you want. Let's see if you could. Hamlin or Larson? I mean, I'm going to go Larson. I know Hamlin's a much better super speedway driver, but I just want the extra PD spots. Susumo says, my exposures has Smith, Elio, and Custer as top 3 most owned. Am I doing Daytona right? Yeah, sounds fine to me. I mean, I'm not far off that at all. Yeah, I mean, Daytona is you just play the worst thing possible on the eyes, and then at the end, you hope you have the right bingo cards. You don't always need some win equity, Josh. You can play just pure junk. It's totally fine, Daytona. I mean, trying to nail the winner is like extremely difficult, and even then, it's not always guaranteed to be the top 6 highest scorer. So is there a much greater chance of the winning DFS lineup leaving 3K on the table more than spending everything but a couple hundred or less? Yeah, I would say that's way more likely. Hold on. Let me pull up something. Phil posted this on Twitter. He usually always does every single week. Race Sheets on Twitter. He posted the optimal lineups at Daytona recently. I can pull up the salary used on that really quick. Okay. So, salary used for the past Daytona 500s for the past 4 years. Last year was $45,400, so roughly $5,000 on the table. The year before that was $37,000 used, so that's a ton of money. And then the year before that, $45,900. Then the year before that, $47,600. So, I mean, you typically don't want to use most of your salary. Now, I will say in 2022, we did have guys starting 7th and 5th in the optimal, but I do want to point out playing like the actual optimal lineup of winning the contest is not likely because the chances of actually someone having that exact combination is pretty tough to do. Yeah, I don't watch any other series besides NASCAR, but Helio is, from what I hear, he's obviously pretty, he's got some nice prestige for sure. What's up, SoFlo? Is 33% ownership on Hocevar too much? No, that's a fine leverage spot. Ride around in the back, collect our spots at the end. At least that's the theory. Have a move lock. Yeah, unless they announce that this is not going green soon, we're probably going to end up locking. Trying to pull up a radar. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's hovering there. It's coming though. Custer or Haley, if I had to choose one, I would go with Haley. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Sean, he won the Millie in 2022 with no dupes, just straight up won the Millie, and he did not have the actual optimal. So like getting the actual optimal lineup is very difficult to do at a track like this. Just having the best lineup, it's different, you know. Spread says, sign up for your free week of Patreon. Yeah, tons of data on here. I mean, there's a lot more than what I'm just showing you guys here. This is just for some scenery, but ceiling, floor projections, optimizer, the sim center, contest simulations, betting dashboard, all that fun stuff. In the Discord, always have a fun time in there during the race and throughout the week. So want to come and check it out. If you're a new user, you can do completely free for the week. So like, why the heck not? I agree, Sean. We gotta get the likes to a 1-to-1 ratio. I wish that would happen, but it's not possible. Yeah, Sean came in here to flex. I think we'll probably have to cut the feed off so he doesn't get too much recognition. No problem at all, Josh. Not at all. Drivers going to the rear matters more or less today. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all today. Like 0. At a regular track, yeah, that matters a bit, but here, not at all. Appreciate you, Dallas. Appreciate all the work you do and bringing us this new content. This may sound dumb, but how do I subscribe to your Patreon? Do you download the app for that, like Discord? Spread actually posted a link. It should take you there. I think you can use it on desktop. You can use the app, and then once you sync your Discord within the app, it'll take you there. But yeah, if you want to try it out, it's free. Come in, say hi, hang out with us during the race. It's a good time. Yeah, no problem, Steve. Sean trying to become the 2-time million winner. No, Sean's happy they cut it down from $1 million this year because he doesn't want anybody else. He doesn't want anybody else to say they can win the $1 million. Being next to each other doesn't mean anything. Like there's no core. It's not like MLB where this guy's batting third and fourth. That means it doesn't mean anything. I'm kidding, Sean. I'm kidding. What's up, Dave? Pete says Cody Ware finished P4 last time. For some perspective, yeah. I mean, Cody Ware sucks. That just goes to show you, like, these guys can ball out. Bowman or Busch? I would rather have Bowman. FanDuel is going to lock in 3 minutes. So for those of you on FanDuel, it's not the same as DK lock. So make sure you get those in. I always have to double check. I remember one time I didn't realize that, and I was doing a show on Stochastic, and I was, after the show I went on, I was like, all right, I got 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh no, FanDuel locked early. So just know FanDuel usually locks earlier than DraftKings. So that wasn't fun. Nothing changes, Trent. If someone goes to the rear today, it does not matter. Just pretend you didn't see it. Thoughts on the rain? Maybe boring until that. Yeah, I mean, I guess my only thoughts are is we're going to get an in-race delay at some point. We'll see how long we get to it. It'd be cool if they killed each other before that, but either way, they might just ride around until the rain comes. I always think it's really stupid that NASCAR can see rain coming. It's right there, and they get the cars on the track, and they start it, and then it rains. It's like, come on, guys, just look at the radar. Let's use our brains a little bit. That's probably too much to ask for. Gregson or Priest in tournaments? I would rather go with Gregson. May the force be with you today. Appreciate that, Obi. Thank you for being here. Yeah. My mom's always yelling with Joey. You know that. It's today of the day. Kyle Busch finally wins the 500. My outright bet on him, hope so. That'd be great. I mean, he's ran so well in next gen at drafting tracks. He really does. He really does deserve a win. I would rather go with McDowell, personally. What's up, Bull? Says sorry late, but had to stop by and say good luck to everyone. Appreciate that, sir. I don't think Castroneves is going to be like a sneaky play, but I don't think he's going to be owned as much as he should. I would definitely rather be overweight on him. Any lean on Stenhouse or Custer? Seems to be a decent ownership discrepancy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Custer I think is a great term. I think Custer is one of the best term plays on the slate. He starts in 30th. He's surrounded by guys that people would rather play. He can finish 10th. Favorite manufacturer for the day? I mean, I'm not really thinking about that when building today at all. I have the Chevys projected as the best finishers, but I'm not really building with manufacturers in mind. Is old Truex in play today? He is. Unfortunately, it's the last time we had to think about Truex. I mean, last year, he would always look so good on paper. He'd be good in practice, great qualifying, and then the race starts, dead, for whatever reason. Larson and Hamlin in the same lineup, or no? If I'm hand building, like if I'm in a single entry or a 3 max or 20, I can't do that. Like there's just so much risk. Can it hit? Yes. The chances of it hitting and the chances of you actually figuring out exactly who you should have played in the top 20, it's low. Any SVG love for GPP? I have just a little bit. I forced like a handful of shares in there, but honestly, outside of in like 25th on back, he's kind of my least favorite. Have the cheaters ran you out of Warzone? I just don't really like the new updates and stuff. I haven't really been playing it. I've just been playing other games. Maybe Grand Theft Auto 6 will come out eventually. We can play that. But no, Warzone during COVID was the best time. It's not super great these days. Yeah, 24% would be great. Okay, I have about similar to that. We'll see what he ends up coming in ownership-wise. The ownership's kind of tough back there because I don't know if people don't trust him or whatever it is, but Gregson or Custer in a single entry GBP. Gregson a little bit higher. Yeah, like if you're in a milli maker, that's what it would be. If it's like a single entry, I mean, it's just not something I could really do. Castro or Zane? I'd rather go with Zane. I see Tito's awake finally. What's up? Yeah, I meant to not do too much on the video games. Let's see. Truex is a night race guy. If rain holds this race until under the lights, Truex becomes live. Hey, as long as Truex finishes top 20, 25 today, I'll be happy. No, I'm not really worried about McDowell switching teams. It's just all about the starting position. I seriously do not care about anything else for these drivers other than where they start. I don't care what car they're in. I don't care what team they're on. As long as you're in the back half of the field, I mean, you're going to be in play. Yeah, I did that too, Alex. I played Connor Mozak in my main lineup, and I went mini golfing when it started, and then I came back and I was like, I heard that he didn't even start the race. Well, that's great. Day before it starts. Do I like Chastain's chances of winning? I mean, not really. Like the chances I have of winning for Chastain are, I mean, 2.4% of the time, so it's like not likely. No, cover the names up. Pretend the names don't exist. Just pick the numbers. That's the best. That is the best advice. Cover the names up, look at the numbers, and then there you go. McDowell or Herbst? I'd rather go with McDowell. DraftKings single, pick 3. Zane, Gregson, Haley, Hocevar. I'll take the first 3. Who's the team, Max? I mean, personally for me, like I don't build on teams. These guys, I mean, they just don't care at the end. Like it can look great for the majority of the race, but I mean, they both turn each other. They don't care. Seen it many, many times. Let's do a final weather check here. Playing Bell and Bush together today, and it makes me nervous. I mean, I understand why it definitely make you nervous. And starting with Pack, I mean, a lot of danger. They could win. They can win, but all right. Got an update from a man, Brian Newdorf. Rain is 45 to 60 minutes out. Outflow from the rain. Storms picking up speed and developing rain ahead of the main line. 40 to 45 miles per hour wind. And possible 2 hours of rain behind the main line as well. Ooh. Not good. That doesn't seem good. Yeah, Rainbow Bailey Speedway at 3 p.m. Might even be before that at this point. I guess some more stuff's developing. I mean, is it really a Daytona 500 if we don't get rain? It's kind of like a tradition. Yeah, I mean, like, just look at the radar, right? Like, what's the point? I don't think anybody wants to start and then stop. Like, just, and you get back out of the groove. Like, just let the drivers take a nap, do whatever they want to do, and then we get going for prime time. Like, what's wrong with starting the race at 6 p.m., 7 p.m.? I actually saw Thomas in Discord. Pretty sure Thomas is in there. I saw him pop in for a second. I didn't get to say hi yet, but I don't know about that. I mean, we can race late. Jimmy or Zane for DK Cash? I'll take Zane, personally. Just a little bit more upside. We're like for Cash. Keselowski, Bowman, Truex, maybe my starting point for Cash. Yeah, so the way it works delay-wise is they have to get to at least halfway for them to be able to postpone, and just that's the end of the race. If they don't get to halfway, they'd have to just push it to Monday, the rest of it. Although we did see before where I think it was the Xfinity road course race or something. They weren't quite at halfway, but then they made the decision to just not do it anyway. I don't think they would do that for the 500, of course, but did you, Dallas? I saw someone just did, so appreciate you being in there. Yeah, we might be, Rick. We might be. Homie said with the big feet. Yeah, so I actually, on my sheet here, I have a whole thing here that shows like every driver's head-to-head thing here, and then I have another page where you can type it in there, and it gives you the fair odds, so you can type in any matchup you want. But this is a horrible race for that. I wouldn't even consider it unless you found some weird odds. Trump took a lap. Did he really? I know he did last time. I think SVG's in a really tough spot starting in 25th. I do not have a lot of him. I mean, I have him more than the guys in the very front. Like, I have him more than all of these guys. But he's still not a ton. That would definitely be GPP. For sure. Who won this race last year? I'm pretty sure Byron won it. He started in 18th. And then the last Daytona race, which was in the summer, Harrison Burton won it in 20th. For me, Tito, that would be 0 to 2 drivers from 1st through 24th. Well, 0 to 3 and 0 to 3, sorry. Oh yeah, we have ownership on FanDuel, don't we? Well, let me take a look-see. Brad's 44% on FanDuel. I think I projected him at 43, so that's not too bad. Oh no, I had Brad projected at 44.7, so we got that one right, at least. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at some of these FanDuel ownerships. All right, Bowman is 33% on FanDuel. I also have Bowman at 33% projected, so that's not bad. We'll take the victory lap on 2 guys. The rest could be wrong, but whatever. Truex is only 23% on FanDuel. So that's lower than I thought for sure. Halio is 4% on FanDuel. 4%. Like I said, guys, these guys in the back on FanDuel are not nearly as owned as they should be. Zane Smith is 12% on FanDuel. Jimmy Johnson's 9%. That is crazy. I just found Brandon Cruz's lineup on here. He always does like a pure stack the backs. I always see him pop up on the front page. Haley's only 12%. I mean, that is just. Daniel Suarez is 14%. Here, let me I'm trying to find these guys up front, but Ryan Preece is 11. Chase Elliott's 27% owned. Christopher Bell's 19%. Hocevar's 9%. McDowell 8%. Barry's at 12%. I feel like half the field's 12% owned. Cody Ware is 2.9% owned on FanDuel. Kyle Busch came in at 26%. So, I mean, the guys we thought would have ownership for sure, but man, there's some like people. These are some guys that are way too low owned in the back on FanDuel. Because people just don't want to click on their names back there. For sure. FanDuel typically is a little bit ahead of DraftKings. Ware Johnson, I'd rather play Jimmy. Is it okay to fade Larson and Busch and lock Kess and Bowman? I mean, between those two, I'd rather play Kess and Bowman, but I definitely would not lock drivers in a race like this. I wouldn't go higher than 40-50% exposure. What's Gregson on FanDuel? I'm pretty sure I saw Gregson at 12%. This is the $3 150 max for reference. Yeah, Zane's 12. I think, pretty sure I saw Gregson at, it was either 12 or 9. Trying to find the guys very up front, but you have to sort that by the Custer 7. Like, trying to see what Joey Logano is. But okay, so like on FanDuel, Bubba Wallace is 13% owned. He's like the same ownership as Daniel Suarez, and he starts 30 spots further back. Like, what are we doing? Denny Hamlin's 19% owned. Logano's at 18%. I mean, if we get Carnage, I mean, you're in a really good spot over on FanDuel. I feel like he could do better than SVG as the last driver in. I mean, he's kind of starting further up. I'm not super excited about it. Caprice? I think I ended up a little bit overweight on Priest. Pretty sure I played around 20. Trying to find. I was in the 15 to 20 range. I forget the exact number what it was. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Haleo and Jimmy are like unowned on FanDuel. Like, even if they're the first ones to wreck out, I don't care. If you told me before the race starts, Haleo and Jimmy are going to be less than 5% on a FanDuel, I mean, I cannot find SVG on FanDuel. I wish they had a search feature, but they do not. All right, I have been live for a very long time, so I'm probably going to have to hop off here, guys. I do appreciate everyone that hung out with me. It was a good one. Let's see here. We'll be back next week for Atlanta doing the same old thing, and we'll be doing Super Speedway racing once again, so it'll be a similar premise. Hopefully we get all the racing today. We'll see what happens weather-wise. It looks like it will rain at some point, just a matter of how long. But I wish everyone the best of luck because we're going to need it this week. It's going to be a lot of luck involved, but as long as you set yourself up with the right strategy, I think in the end you should be able to do pretty well. But I wish you all the best. Hopefully I'll see you all next week, and I'll be in